Have you ever reacted to something so quickly, only to regret it later? Someone says something that hurts you, and you immediately respond. Someone ignores you, and suddenly your entire mood changes. Someone criticizes you, and for the rest of the day, their words remain inside your head. You cannot control what they say. You cannot control what they do. You cannot control how they judge you, and yet, somehow, they control your peace. But what if the real problem isn't what happens to you? What if the real problem is the reaction you give it? The ancient Stoics understood something that most of us spend our entire lives learning. You cannot control the world around you, but you can learn to control what happens within you. And once you understand that, people lose their power over you. Welcome to Inner Depth Studio. Today, we are going to explore the Stoic art of staying calm in a world that constantly tries to provoke you, distract you, and pull you away from yourself. This is the Stoic mind. And perhaps, by the end of this audiobook, you will realize that the strongest person in the room is not the one who reacts the fastest, but the one who no longer needs to. Chapter 1. What you can control. Most of us spend far more energy trying to control things that were never ours to control in the first place. We try to control what people think of us, how they treat us, whether they approve of our decisions, whether our plans succeed, whether the future unfolds the way we imagined, and whether life gives us the outcomes we believe we deserve. We spend hours worrying about conversations that have already ended, situations that have not happened yet, and opinions that may never matter as much as we imagine. And somehow, after all that effort, we still feel powerless. The ancient Stoics understood this problem differently. They recognized that life is divided between things that belong to us and things that do not. Our choices belong to us. Our judgments belong to us. Our actions belong to us. The way we respond to a difficult situation belongs to us, but another person's opinion does not belong to us. Their behavior does not belong to us. The past does not belong to us. The future does not belong to us. Even the outcome of something we have worked incredibly hard for may ultimately exist outside our control. This distinction sounds simple, but once you begin to understand it, it can completely change the way you experience your life. Imagine spending an entire day trying to control the weather. You look at the sky and become angry because it is raining. You complain about the clouds, wish the sun would appear, and become frustrated because your plans have been interrupted. But no matter how much you complain, the weather does not respond to your emotions. The rain continues falling whether you accept it or not. Now imagine treating another person's behavior in exactly the same way. Someone speaks badly about you, and you become angry. You spend the next several hours thinking about what they said, imagining what you should have said in response, wondering why they would treat you that way, and replaying the conversation again and again, hoping to find some perfect response that could somehow change what already happened. But their words have already been spoken. Their opinion belongs to them. Their behavior belongs to them. What remains within your control is what you choose to do with the experience. This does not mean becoming passive. Stoicism is not about allowing people to mistreat you or pretending that nothing matters. It is about understanding where your power actually exists. If someone insults you, you can respond with dignity or anger. If someone rejects you, you can allow rejection to destroy your confidence or use it as information. If a plan fails, you can spend your energy blaming circumstances or begin asking what you can do next. The event itself may not belong to you, but your response does. And that difference is enormous. Think about how often your emotions are determined by things outside yourself. Someone sends you a message, and your mood changes. Someone does not reply, and suddenly you begin wondering whether they are upset with you. Someone compliments you, and you feel confident. Someone criticizes you, and your confidence disappears. You see another person's success, and suddenly your own achievements feel smaller. Someone disagrees with you, and you feel the need to convince them. Without realizing it, you have handed pieces of your emotional life to other people. The Stoics would ask you to take those pieces back, not by becoming cold or indifferent to everyone, but by understanding that other people can influence your circumstances without owning your mind. There is a powerful freedom in realizing that you do not have to react to everything that happens around you. Something can happen without immediately demanding an emotional response from you. Someone can say something unpleasant, and you can pause. Someone can misunderstand you, and you can decide whether that misunderstanding actually needs to be corrected. Someone can dislike you, and you can continue living without turning their opinion into a crisis. The pause between what happens and what you do next is where your freedom begins. That pause may only last a few seconds, but those seconds can change everything. Instead of immediately asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" you can ask, "What is actually happening here?" Instead of asking, "How can I make them understand me?" you can ask, "Is their understanding necessary?" Instead of asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" you can ask, "What can I do if it does?" These questions move your attention away from what you cannot control and toward what you can. And that is the essence of Stoic thinking. You do not need to control the entire situation to control your part in it. You do not need to control the storm to decide how you will stand in it. You do not need to control other people to protect your peace. You do not need certainty about tomorrow to make a good decision today. This way of thinking becomes especially powerful when life refuses to follow your plans, because eventually something will go wrong. Someone will disappoint you. An opportunity will disappear. A relationship will end. A plan you worked on for months will fail. Someone you trusted will make a decision you never expected. You will lose something you believed you needed. The question is not whether these things will happen. They will. The question is who you will become when they do. A fragile mind says, "This should not be happening." A disciplined mind says, "This is happening. What can I do now?" That difference may seem small, but it separates resistance from acceptance. Acceptance does not mean liking what happened. It does not mean agreeing with injustice. It does not mean giving up. Acceptance simply means refusing to waste your energy arguing with reality. Reality does not negotiate. If something has already happened, wishing that it had not happened cannot change it. You can learn from it, repair what can be repaired, apologize when necessary, and take action, but you cannot travel backward and rewrite the moment. So the Stoic does not ask, "Why did this happen to me?" forever. The Stoic eventually asks, "What will I do with what happened?" That is where responsibility begins. And responsibility is not always comfortable. It is easier to blame circumstances. It is easier to blame another person. It is easier to say that life was unfair and therefore nothing could have been done. Sometimes circumstances genuinely are unfair. Sometimes you are treated badly. Sometimes you are given disadvantages you never asked for. But even then, there is one territory that remains yours, your response. You may not choose the situation you were given, but you can choose what kind of person you become inside it. That is why Stoicism is not really about controlling life. It is about controlling yourself. The world will continue changing around you. People will continue having opinions. Plans will continue failing. Unexpected problems will appear. Some days will be easy, and others will demand more from you than you thought you had. You cannot eliminate uncertainty, but you can become less dependent on certainty. You can become the kind of person who does not need everything to go according to plan before feeling at peace. You can learn to say, "I would prefer this outcome, but I do not need it in order to remain steady." That is a powerful position to live from, because once you stop demanding that reality behave exactly the way you want, you become much harder to disturb. Perhaps that is what emotional strength really means. It does not mean that nothing hurts, that nothing disappoints you, or that you never become angry, afraid, or sad. It means that your emotions no longer automatically decide your actions. You can feel anger without becoming cruel. You can feel fear without running away. You can feel disappointment without giving up. You can feel sadness without allowing it to define your identity. You can experience the emotion without becoming the emotion. That is where the Stoic mind begins, not with controlling the world and not with controlling other people, but with something much more difficult and much more valuable: learning to govern yourself. And once you understand what truly belongs to you, you begin to realize just how much unnecessary suffering comes from trying to possess what never belonged to you in the first place. Chapter 2: The Difference Between Control and Peace. Most people spend their lives chasing control without realizing that control is often an illusion. We believe that if people speak kindly to us, if our plans unfold exactly as expected, if life remains predictable, then we will finally feel at peace. But Stoic philosophy teaches something radically different. Peace is not born from controlling the world. Peace is born from understanding what never belonged to our control in the first place. Imagine standing beside the ocean during a storm. You cannot command the waves to become calm. You cannot negotiate with the wind. The harder you fight against nature, the more exhausted you become. Yet if you simply acknowledge the storm for what it is, your energy changes. Instead of resisting reality, you begin responding to it wisely. Life works the same way. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would meet difficult people, disappointment, misunderstanding, and unexpected obstacles. He wasn't being pessimistic. He was preparing his mind so reality would never shock him. When hardship arrived, he didn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" He asked, "How should I respond?" That question changes everything. The Stoics believed there are only two categories in life. The first is what belongs to you: your thoughts, your choices, your character, your actions. The second is everything else: other people's opinions, the economy, the weather, luck, timing, aging, success, failure, even the length of your own life. Suffering begins when we confuse these two categories and spend our energy trying to control what never belonged to us. Think about how much anxiety comes from imagined conversations, uncertain futures, or people's silent judgments. Hours disappear worrying about outcomes that may never happen. Meanwhile, the only thing truly available in that moment, your next decision, is quietly ignored. Real freedom is surprisingly simple. It is waking up each morning and asking, "What can I influence today?" Then giving your full attention to that answer while allowing everything else to unfold without stealing your peace. The world may remain unpredictable. People may disappoint you. Opportunities may appear and disappear without warning. But the person who learns to master their own mind discovers something extraordinary. Even in uncertainty, they remain steady. Even in chaos, they remain calm. And that quiet strength is something no circumstance can ever take away. Chapter 3: The Freedom of Emotional Distance. There is a quiet strength that most people never develop because they mistake it for coldness. They believe peace comes from controlling other people, convincing everyone to understand them, or making sure they are never judged. But the Stoics discovered something very different. Freedom begins the moment you stop placing your emotional weather in someone else's hands. Imagine carrying a cup filled to the brim with water. Every careless word, every criticism, every rejection, every delay causes the water to spill. Most people spend their lives blaming the road for being uneven, never realizing the real solution is learning how to carry the cup with steady hands. Your mind is that cup. The world will always shake it. Wisdom is learning not to spill. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every conflict deserves your energy. One of the greatest forms of self-respect is deciding that your inner peace is more valuable than winning every argument or pleasing every person you meet. Emotional distance does not mean you stop loving people. It means you stop allowing every emotion around you to become your own. You can care deeply without carrying everyone's burdens. You can listen without absorbing another person's anger. You can walk away without feeling guilty for protecting your peace. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that every morning he would meet people who were impatient, selfish, arrogant, and dishonest. Yet he never saw this as a reason to become bitter. Instead, he treated it as a reminder to prepare his own mind. The world was never expected to become easier. The goal was to become steadier. When you no longer react to every insult, people lose the power to manipulate you. When you no longer seek constant validation, approval becomes optional. When you stop fearing discomfort, courage quietly replaces anxiety. That transformation does not happen overnight. It is built through hundreds of ordinary moments where you choose calm over impulse, reflection over reaction, and purpose over emotion. The Stoic life is not a life without feeling. It is a life where feelings are respected, but never allowed to become your master. And perhaps that is the greatest victory anyone can achieve, not controlling the world, but finally learning to govern themselves.